So we'll start with this session. Okay, so some of the students who are already part of the Talent Battle different training programs, and there are some students who have newly joined for this particular session, as we have given the information to for the students to share it with others as well. So what we are going to do, this is going to be approx 50 to 60 minutes of session where we are going to discuss about the cognizant opportunity. Okay. Now, before starting, if you can let me know your college name in the chat box, so I will also have idea like which college students are attending this particular session. So maybe your college name in the chat box if you can put. Okay. Yes. Okay. So first of all, this is a really great opportunity which all the students from different colleges have got. Okay, from the Cognizant. Okay, definitely there are different job roles which we are going to discuss. If you check the different opportunities which you may have got in 2025, if you compare it, there have been less opportunities. So this opportunity becomes very important. Okay, so before starting, one of the quote which I always like to share with the students, as you can check on the screen as well. Okay, each day life will send you little windows of opportunity. Your destiny will ultimately be defined by how you respond to these windows of opportunity. So you need to understand, as a final year engineering student, you have got this particular opportunity which is extremely important. Okay, if you work for the next 10 to 15 days sincerely, and if you convert this opportunity into placement offer, it is going to be a great start to your career. But maybe some of you will again take it lightly, and if they don't work properly, again you will lose this particular opportunity. And as you know, in this particular year the opportunities have been less compared to the previous year. So you need to understand this is the opportunity which you have got. Now, how you work on it will depend, will definitely create your career. Okay. So with this, I will start with the next introduction part, and then I will jump to the actual cognizant part. Okay. As I mentioned, some of the students already know us and know our platform. Those students who are new, I will quickly introduce. I'm Ajinkya Kulkarni. I am co-founder of Talent Battle. Basically, we started this particular platform back in 2013. So we have 12 years of experience into placement industry. We provide different offline training to the colleges, online live training, and we work with various online batches as well on our platform. So the students from more than 5,000 plus colleges have joined us so far in this particular journey. On our YouTube channel also, we have more than 268K subscribers. If I talk about the offline institutions, just last year we were having almost 40 to 50 institutions where our trainers went and they provided different type of training. So we are associated with more than 50 colleges for the offline training as well. This is the recent list I'm talking about. About me, as I mentioned, I'm Ajinkya Kulkarni, co-founder, started this company back in 2013. I have earlier worked in TCS as a software developer. Then once I took experience from TCS, I returned back to this particular industry because I was having passion to support the students in their placement journey. So we continued with this venture in 2015, and we have trained more than 3.5 lakh students through our platform, whether it is offline or online trainings. Okay. We have been connected with various industries as well. I would like to share one very good information with you, that you might be already knowing about TCS NQT exam, right? Paid NQT exam which TCS conducts. So whenever any student register for that paid NQT exam, they get aptitude and technical content option from TCS side. That content has been developed by Talent Battle team. Okay, so we believe on the quality training whenever we provide it to the app, whenever we provide, whether it is aptitude, technical, or even the interview preparation. Okay, now, so what I will do, I will directly start with the different job roles which you are going to have for the Cognizant. You might have already gone through their pre-placement talk. You might have already received the information from training and placement department, but still some of the things I will repeat. Okay. In between, if you have any queries, you can ask. Some of the queries I will try to answer it at the same moment. If it is not possible at the end of this particular session, I will answer it. Okay. So what are the different job roles you are going to have for the Cognizant? If you check from last 3 to 4 years, Cognizant has been consistently changing its pattern. Okay. So if you talk about the previous year, they were having separate examination for Gen Z, separate examination for Gen Z Pro, and separate examination for Gen Z Next. But this year, what they have done, it's bit like TCS NQT exam also you can check. Okay, if you attempt the first test, based on your score you are going to get the different job roles. Okay, so over here they are going to provide you three job roles as you can check on the screen. First is Gen Z Next, where they are providing you package of 6.75 LPA. So this is the highest package which they are providing you right now. So individuals who are technically proficient with advanced programming, matured coding skills, and full stack abilities. Okay, so they are expecting you to have these technology knowledge. We will discuss in detail in some time. Okay, the second job role which they are offering is Gen Z Pro, which is around 5.4 LPA. Again, a good package you can consider. So individuals with expertise in enterprise platforms or product or specific technologies, whether it is Salesforce or different technologies which they have mentioned. Now, the third job role which they are going to provide you is Gen C, that is 4 LPA. Okay. So individuals with foundational programming expertise, they should be agile learners with the ability to comprehend complex problems and deliver smart solutions. So your target should be to make sure either of these particular job role. Definitely the first aim should be to go for Gen C Next, which is 6.75 LPA. If you are not able to crack it, maybe you can go for Gen C Pro, otherwise Gen C. So the students who will perform at the top level, they will get a call for Gen C Next. Maybe below that, they will get a call for Gen C Pro, and below that, the students will get a call for Gen C. Okay, so these are the three job roles which you are going to get from the Cognizant. Now, I guess you might have gone through already the eligibility criteria and other details. I will quickly cover in 1 or 2 minutes. 2025 batch students are eligible for it, whether it is BE, BTech, ME, MTech. The streams such as leather technology, food technology, fashion technology are excluded. So basically, they are not allowed for this. Students should possess consistent academic record with minimum 60 percentage in 10, 12 diploma, UG and PG. Rounding off of 59.9 percentage is not allowed, so they have clearly told you. Okay, later on at the stage of suppose if you get selected, later on at the stage of document verification, each and everything will be cross checked. So suppose if someone lies in this particular process, then definitely they will get excluded later on. Okay, students with standing areas are not eligible. Okay, and other details which you might have already gone through. Okay, your training and placement department might have already given. Okay, so the in all the educational qualifications. Okay, now let me go to the next part. Okay, what they are going to what they are saying basically, our campus selection process will be primarily based on communication, programming ability, and aptitude. So if you are able to crack all these three things, you will be getting different job opportunities or job roles, you can say. Okay, 6.75 LPA, 5.4, or whether 4 LPA. Okay, now, one very important thing which they have mentioned, screening will be an elimination process. So I guess you might have already completed your registration process. You might have uploaded your resume and all other details which they have asked. Okay, so screening is also going to be elimination process, but it depends on the eligibility criteria. Maximum students who are eligible, okay, they are going to get the call for the first round, that is communication test. Okay, only if you are not eligible as per 10th, 12th, or maybe if you're having current arrears or backlogs, in that case only you will not be eligible. Okay, but most of the students who are going to apply, and if you are eligible, you are going to get the details from the Cognizant for the next round. Okay, so what you need to make sure, you need to ensure the registration is done accurately, ensure evidence of skill certification is uploaded. Okay, so suppose if you say that you have done full stack development course, or if you say that you have done maybe data science AI/ML course, you need to upload the necessary certification as well. Okay, now this is very important line, guys. Communication, aptitude, and technical assessments are mandatory to be completed to be eligible for the technical interview. So if you check about the previous and before that, okay, earlier for the Gen Z role, they were not having mandatory technical assessment. Okay, but from this year, what they have done, communication, aptitude, and technical assessment are mandatory for each and every job role, whether it is Gen C or Gen Z Pro or Gen Z Next. And a very important thing is technical interview will be conducted in person. Okay, so you need to understand, you need to visit some Cognizant office, or either they will manage it at some colleges and you need to visit that particular college for the Cognizant interviews. Okay, the final interviews. Now, this is very important thing. Internship will be offered to subset of selected candidates based on skills, business demand, performance, and provisional certificate availability. Other selected candidates will be onboarded as full-time employee post successful completion of engineering degree. Okay. So onboarding timeline will be notified to the candidates. So some of the students may get considered for internship, and some students may get considered for the full-time employee job post. Okay, it is not necessary that all the students who are going to get selected for Cognizant, all the students are not going to get internship. So you need to understand they will divide. Some students may go for internship, some students will go for the full-time job opportunity. Okay. Then provisional certificate will be mandatory to join Cognizant, and voter ID or passport will be mandatory to verifying citizenship. Okay. Now, the pattern you might have already checked, but I will quickly cover the part. Okay. So the registration has already closed yesterday, like 31st. Okay. Then the screening process will happen. If you clear the screening process, the round one is going to be communication assessment. As I mentioned earlier, each and every round details I'm going to share in some time. This is just the overview. Okay. So once you, so those students who will go for the communication assessment, you will have at least 6 to 7 days of time for the next round, which is going to be aptitude assessment. The next round is going to happen between 10 to 13 February. Okay, so aptitude assessment and then the technical assessment. Okay, so if you clear this particular round, then depending on your Gen Z Pro or Gen Z, guys, if let me know if there is any internet issue in between. Okay, those who are on Zoom as well as those who are on YouTube, you can let me know. I will continue right now. Now, students who will clear the aptitude and technical assessment, you will go for the interview depending on your performance. Okay. And then if you get selected from the interview as well, okay, you will have the letter of intent from Cognizant, which you already know if there is any issue. Okay, I will continue right now. I guess it is fine now. Just give me one moment. Let me just check it on YouTube once. Just give me one moment. Okay, what I will do, I will close my video for some time. And okay, I guess it is fine now. Okay, I can continue. Okay. So only one attempt is given for all the assessments. Okay, it is mandatory for candidates to appear for communication, aptitude, and technical assessments to move ahead in the process. Now, this is very important change. Okay, let me check again on YouTube. Okay. So this is very important line, guys. Cluster 1 is default cluster for technical assessment, and candidates will be evaluated on Java, NSI SQL, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Okay. Candidates can choose skill cluster 2 or skill cluster 3 or not applicable as their additional skill cluster. So I have gone through different videos which are available on internet. So what some of them are saying, which was previously conducted by Cognizant, that you can choose any of the cluster like skill cluster 1 or 2 or 3. But now Cognizant has made one important change. Skill cluster 1, which is based on Java, SQL, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, is mandatory, that each and every student is supposed to attempt that particular cluster. And then cluster 2 or cluster 3 is optional. Okay, either you can give one or not applicable as per their additional cluster. So this is very important. Okay. And the last line is during the Gen Z Next and Pro technical interviews, candidates will be assessed for Gen Z suitability if they are not selected for Gen Z Next or Pro. So this is very good thing, guys. Okay. So suppose if you score really good marks in aptitude and technical assessment, and then if you are getting considered for high packages, whether it is 6.75 LPA or 5.4 LPA, okay, then in that case, if you do not clear the interview of higher roles, you will be considered for lower role as well, which is Gen C. Okay, so it does not mean if you do not clear the interview of Gen Z Next, you will be completely eliminated. You will be considered either for Gen Z Pro or Gen Z. So that is again very important. Okay, and once you do all this, you will go for the letter of intent part. Okay, now what are the technical requirements for the test? Assessment should be taken on safe browser. Only one test attempt is allowed. No additional tabs other than those related to the assessment should be opened. This is very important, guys. Okay, so even all these companies, whenever they conduct these rounds, okay, they have strict security policy. So even on the right side, as you can check, Cognizant has zero tolerance policy towards malpractice. Okay, you should not use any of the mode. Okay, even they have clearly mentioned that refrain from using AI platforms like ChatGPT. Okay, even Telegram groups, they tell that to avoid all these groups. It is very important. Please do not indulge into any such activity. You will be directly disqualified if you do it. Okay, so better than that, you have 10 to 15 days. Okay, make sure you prepare really well and you attempt that particular exam. Okay, other details definitely you might have received from TPO, so I will not go in detail, like should wear formal attire during the assessment and all these things. Okay, now what I will do, I will go for the next part regarding internship. What they have mentioned, it will be depend against a demand skill. Changing of skill tracks will not be option unless it is business driven challenge. Okay, they have mentioned the location as well for the different internship opportunities. Okay, okay, I will go for the next part, guys. Okay, so let us actually start with the content about the different rounds. Okay, so once you clear the screening round, you are first going to have the communication assessment. So for the communication assessment also, what has happened? If you take example of the cognizant drives which happened 6 to 8 months before, or even if you take example which happened last year, so there were different number of sections. So current information as per the cognizant pre-placement talk, you are going to have the duration of around 60 minutes and the 4 sections will be there. So earlier, if you check those students who got placed in a Cognizant with Gen Z or other roles from 2025 batch who have given exam like 5 to 6 months before, some of them were having 3 or 2 sections, but now they are going to have 4 sections. Like you are going to have 4 sections, and the sections will be based where they will be cross checking your speaking, pronunciation, reading, grammar, comprehension, and listening. The second part is going to be once you clear, or basically all the students who are going to face the communication assessment, you are going to have aptitude assessment. And what Cognizant has shared, basically you are going to have 2 sections. One will be quantitative aptitude, so they have clearly mentioned it, and second will be deductive and inductive reasoning, so you can call it like game based aptitude. I'll be sharing more information in some time. Again, if you check some of the channels, or maybe even if you check some of the websites, they are saying that you're going to have only quant logical verbal questions. But as per the pre-placement talk, Cognizant has shared you're going to have questions based on quantitative aptitude and game-based aptitude. So they have not mentioned anything about verbal ability as of now. So since you have less number of days, you should focus more on this. Okay. Now what I will do, I will go in detail for the communication assessment part. So let's check. As you can check on the screen, for the communication assessment, you are going to have 4 sections. The first section is going to be reading and listening. Approximately 18 to 23 questions will be there. Then the second section will be speaking, okay, where you will have 3 to 4 topics. I will go in detail in some time for each and every section, okay. Then you will have grammar section where you are supposed to have around 34 questions, and then the comprehension section, okay. Now, okay, general queries, whatever you are having, I will cover at the end about the job role. Okay, let me continue now. So first, I will go in detail about the first section of communication assessment, that is reading and listening. So everyone, you can check on the screen what exactly is going to happen. In this particular section, you will encounter around 18 statements or audio clips. Your task is to read and record the statements of the content or the content of the audio clips. Okay, you get around 10 minutes, okay, to complete all the recordings, and every question is mandatory. Okay, so basically you will be having statements in front of you or audio clips will be provided, and you need to read and record those statements. Okay, so the first section is reading and listening, approximately 18 questions. Number of questions can get changed at the last moment, but overall you will get the idea. Okay, And then the some notes will be provided by them that like ensure the room is quiet and free from distractions such as background conversation, car horns, or mobile phone ringings. This is very important. Okay, avoid muting or adjusting the microphone settings as the mic has been calibrated before the start of the test. So please do not mute the mic or change the microphone settings whenever the test is going on. This is very important. Okay, so the first section, as I mentioned, it is going to be reading and listening. You need to read and record the statement, okay, or either listen. They will provide you some audio clips, you need to listen it and then you need to speak it. Okay, now the next section is going to be speaking. What exactly is going to happen in this section? You will be given either 3 or 4 topics and you need to speak on those topics for 60 seconds. Okay, you will have 90 seconds to think about that particular topic before you start recording. So it is not like directly you need to start. You will get certain amount of time to think and then you need to speak on that topic for 60 seconds each. So what is the note? Basically, to help you speak on that topic, you are provided with the speaking points in the form of question. So this is very good. I will give you some example as well. Okay, the recent topic which Cognizant has asked. Okay, so I have mentioned them on this screen. Actually, as you can check, importance of healthy eating. This was the topic which recently students faced. The role of sports in industry and the impact of technology on communication. So these are some examples or example speaking topic which Cognizant has asked. So what they do, they will tell you the topic, that the topic is role of sports in industry, and then they will provide you 3 to 4 questions. What are the questions they provide? Which is your favorite sport? How sport helps in day-to-day life? These type of questions they will put, like as I have mentioned over here, to help you speak on the topic. You are provided with speaking points in the form of question. So they will ask you certain questions and you need to accordingly answer or create a like what you can say, create a presentation for 60 seconds. Okay, please note that speaking points or questions are just suggestions. So if you wish, you may speak on those topics or you can avoid and speak on other points as well. Okay, so these are just to help you. So like topic examples I have already given, like healthy eating, role of technology in communication, or role of sports. Okay, so these kind of topics you will be given. You will be having 90 seconds to think on that topic and then you need to speak for 60 seconds. Now guys, whatever things and instructions I am right now telling you, you need to understand at the last moment Cognizant may change certain things or minor things. Okay, so it is very important for you to read the instruction before the actual exam. So whenever your exam starts, read the instructions end to end, okay, and then accordingly make sure you are making some changes if there are any changes in the instruction part. Okay. Now the next section, what we have done, we have checked the first section, reading and listening. Then the second section is speaking, where 3 to 4 questions will be given, topics. The next section is going to be grammar. Okay, so in this section you will answer a total of 34 questions. Again, the number of questions may change at the last moment. The questions are divided into 5 categories. You have 15 minutes to complete all the questions and each question is mandatory. Now, which type of questions you are going to have, guys? Okay, the first is in the type of verb forms. Okay, fill in the blank using the correct form of the verb provided in the brackets. Okay, so you might have already attended or gone through the verbal ability related topics, right? So these type of questions you are going to have. You will have total of 8 questions for verb forms. Fill in the blank questions. Next, tenses. So fill in the blank using the appropriate tense provided in the bracket. Okay, so again you are going to have around 8 questions. Okay, now next thing, just give me a moment. Yeah, next thing, you are going to have questions based on articles. So fill in the blanks using the correct article to complete the sentence appropriately. You will have around 6 questions. Okay, now the next is prepositions. Okay, so fill in the blank with the most suitable preposition provided in the bracket. Again, around 6 questions you will be having for this particular topic, or you can say subsection. Next will be voice change. Change the voice of the following sentences, active voice or passive as required. Again, approximately 6 questions. Okay, so total of 34 questions. This question or this section you can consider it is like a verbal ability section itself. Okay, so you will have fill in the blank option. Okay, and you need to answer it accordingly. You will require a good knowledge of tenses, articles, prepositions, and even active voice, passive voice, and overall grammar concepts you can consider. Okay, So this is section number 3 in communication assessment, which is for grammar. Okay. Now let me go for the next section. Again, all the questions are mandatory. You need to attempt each and every question. Okay. And you cannot take a lot of time, as the time is very limited for this particular section. Okay. Now, next section in the communication assessment, which is the last section, is comprehension. So what they're expecting, okay, so basically in this particular section, you will listen to the audio clips followed by the set of questions. You have 10 minutes to finish all the questions. Pay close attention to the audio, as the next questions will be based on it. So you will have one particular paragraph, or you can say audio clip. Okay. You need to listen to that particular audio clip very carefully. And then you will have questions based on that audio clip, and that you need to answer. And the important notes are, you can only listen to the audio once. You can't pause the audio in between. So you need to be very attentive. You need to be very careful when you are listening to that video. Okay. So these are the 4 sections you are having about the communication assessment. Okay. Later on, if you have any query about the communication assessment, you can put in the chat box. I will answer those. But I guess you have got the idea, like what exactly is going to happen in the first assessment of communication round. Okay. 4 sections: reading and listening, speaking, grammar, and comprehension. And the type of questions we have already discussed. Okay. Now, once you go through the first round of communication assessment, after 6 to 8 days, you are going to have the second round. In the second round, you are going to have aptitude assessment and technical assessment. Okay. So first, let us discuss about the aptitude assessment. Okay. Kirti is asking, communication aptitude is same for all 3 roles. Yes, the first 2 rounds are going to be same for everyone. Depending on your performance, you will get like a call for different interview rounds. Also, they have clearly mentioned, suppose imagine you score really good marks in communication round, then you go for the next round, which is aptitude test and technical assessment. You perform really well, then you will get a call for either Gen C Next or Gen C Pro. And Cognizant has already given you one instruction: those students who will go for Gen C Next and Gen C Pro, they may have additional technical assessment. So there can be some additional rounds which can be conducted for you, and then the interview will happen. Those who will go for Gen C, after technical assessment, directly you will have the interview. Okay. So you're depending on your score, you will get a call for different job roles. Okay. Now let me go for the next part. Okay. Next part, technical related question, Prashant, we will discuss in some time. Okay. So first, let me discuss about the aptitude assessment. As I have mentioned earlier, for the aptitude assessment, they have made some changes. Okay. If you check about the previous year. So earlier it was focused more on quant, logical, verbal, but now they have mentioned more about quantitative and game-based aptitude. Okay. So let me discuss first about the quantitative part. Over here, you are going to have around 80 minutes and 2 sections will be provided to you. Okay. So approximately for quantitative aptitude, you can consider 30 to 40 questions. Okay. This is on-campus opportunity, Ashish. Okay. So the colleges, they have got the information from Superset and they are covering it. Okay. Okay. Let me come back to the original point. Okay. So in quantitative aptitude, you can consider approximately 30 to 40 questions. The level of difficulty, to be honest, till previous year, it used to be very easy for Gen C exam. But now the level of difficulty you can consider moderate or moderate to difficult. Okay. For the aptitude part as well. Now, which are the topics which are important for the aptitude? Okay. Let me just show you the topics. You can take a screenshot. Okay. Which can be helpful to you. Okay. So the topics based on percentage, time, speed, distance, time, work, profit, loss, number system. Now, there were less questions on this, but still it is better to be prepared with these topics. Okay, like permutation, combination, probability, ratio, proportion. The students who recently got opportunity, job offer from Cognizant, those who belong to our masterclass, okay, who like had on campus drive 4 to 5 months before, they mentioned the topics like percentage, profit loss, ratio, proportion, number system type of topics. Okay. So it is better to revise all these topics. Okay. Again, there can be some questions based on data interpretation, averages, simplifications. Okay. The most important topics: percentage, ratio, proportion, profit loss, number system, these type of topics. And then if you have time, go for these other topics which I have mentioned. So this is important for quantitative aptitude. Level of difficulty is going to be moderate to difficult. I have one good news for you as well, which I will share at the end, okay, regarding the preparation for quantitative aptitude. Okay, we are going to like provide you certain questions. Okay, I will mention in some time. Okay, now once you have the quantitative aptitude part, the next part is going to be game based aptitude. Now this is a new thing, okay, for the Cognizant. Now what I would like to tell you, suppose if you have earlier given exams of Capgemini, so Capgemini has introduced game-based aptitude from last 2 to 3 years. They are conducting questions based on game-based aptitude whenever they take hiring drive. Okay. Cognizant has recently added the game-based aptitude. So what exactly happens? Okay. It helps them to assess your cognitive skills. Now what happens? You get different type of puzzles, or you can call it challenges, which are usually based on grid challenge like pattern based problem solving, or motion challenge that predicting what will be the next movement of that particular object, digit challenge that you need to do, or you need to do fast calculation for the arithmetic part, okay, or the switch challenge like logical sequencing can be there. Now you need to understand, if you have earlier prepared for Capgemini for game-based aptitude, all the questions are going to be almost same. If you have not prepared, on our YouTube channel, we have certain free game-based aptitude questions, okay, where we have covered all the challenges. You can go through that video. Later on, I will share you the link. Other students who already belong to our masterclass training programs, we have almost 30 plus hours of detailed training on this particular game-based aptitude, which will be sufficient for you to prepare. Again, I will mention questions which were asked for the Capgemini are going to be similar for the Cognizant as well, because they are going to use the same platform. Okay. So for aptitude part, you will be required to prepare quantitative aptitude, and you will be expected to prepare on the game-based aptitude part different challenges. Now again, the game-based aptitude part depends. Okay, game-based aptitude part depends, like suppose if you clear the different levels, you will go for the next levels. Okay, so again 30 to 40 minutes you can consider. The exact number of marks they have not given, but approximately 24 questions you can expect if you clear all the levels of game-based aptitude. Okay, so it will you will continuously go for the next level once you crack it for the game-based aptitude. Okay, now next, tips: practice memory enhancing and pattern recognition games. Use online simulation tests to improve the response speed. There are certain like online simulation tests. Later on, what I will do, if I get a chance on YouTube, I will share you the information, and on our Instagram channel as well. I will add the link of Instagram channel in the YouTube description also. There are some platforms where you can practice the game-based app assessment as well. I will upload it later on. Okay. Now what I will do, guys, once you clear the aptitude and game-based aptitude part, you move to the technical part. Okay. So I have Rohit sir with me, who is our technical expert. Okay, who has given like who is into the technical industry from last almost 12 years. Okay, the students who belong to the complete masterclass training program already know him. Other students, I have just given you a quick information about him. So Rohit sir, right now you can take over and cover the technical part, and at the end I will share the information or other information.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So, welcome you all, students.
Sir, have you
As sir
tried?
has already given the primary idea about the technical assessment, I will be going into the details of it by giving you the idea about the clusters, what are the important notes that Cognizant has provided, and in every cluster, what are the important topics. It is very clearly mentioned in the pre-placement talk of Cognizant. And at the end of that, I will be giving you the preparation strategy also, which will definitely going to help you to crack this particular placement process. Okay. So let's begin with the understanding of important point first. In the pre-placement talk, they have very clearly mentioned that, and if you compare it with the previous examination pattern, in the September exam, previous exam, the students have been provided to select the cluster. There was a chance that student can select the cluster, but this time what they have done is, this is like based on the feedback of our students, that skill cluster 1 will be your default cluster for technical assessment, Means for any role, whether it is Gen C, whether it is Pro, whether it is Next, it becomes mandatory that you have to go through the default cluster, that is skill cluster 1, and second cluster and third cluster, that is skill cluster 2 and skill cluster 3, is something which is additional cluster and it becomes optional. Even if you don't want to go for skill cluster 2 or skill cluster 3, you can have an option of not applicable, and your entire technical assessment will be done on the basis of default cluster, that is skill cluster 1. If you select, which I would be suggesting for more of the students, that whatever the preparation you are doing, if you have that additional technical advantage, you should go for either skill cluster 2 or 3 based on your domain expertise and all. If you select, then the preferences will be given to the additional skill cluster, and few candidates can be considered from cluster 2 and cluster 3 for the assessment. But the assessment of cluster 2 and 3 will be separately conducted, and you will be notified for that particular assessment. So the major important thing here is your cluster 1 is the default cluster, and everyone has to go through this technical assessment of cluster 1. Now let us discuss what is exactly present in every cluster and the important topics to prepare. As I said, skill cluster 1 is your default cluster. The duration is 120 minutes and there are 3 sections into it. But how many number of questions will be exactly present in these sections, that is not being provided by the company. But whatever the feedback we have received from the student, you can expect 2 to 3 questions in that particular sections of coding as well as SQL part. Okay. So what is there in these 3 sections in detail? This one is very important cluster because it will be your default cluster. Everyone has to go through this cluster. So the first section is coding, which is based on Java programming language. And these are the topics that you have to prepare. So basic fundamental knowledge of your programming language becomes must here, because that is what expected in the coding language part. You have to write down the code and you can expect 2 to 3 coding questions here with moderate difficulty level. One question can be from the fundamental concepts, one question can be from array string, or it can be from data structures or searching sorting algorithms. So you have to be very clear with the understanding of Java programming language, the problem solving techniques, logic building. Then array strings are pretty common. Control flow statements, that will be applicable for almost every programming statement. And apart from that, exception handling and OOP, object oriented programming. Now these topics are not only for the coding round, but if you prepare this topic well, this is going to help you for the interview also, because they will be analyzing the questions, they will be asking you the questions based on these topics, and in interview also it is going to help you. So don't only prepare from the perspective of your coding round, but also make sure that you are doing a thorough analysis and you are preparing in detail for all these topics, so that it can help you in the interview guidance, interview preparation part based on the cluster. Okay. Then second section into this particular cluster is your query database with the help of ANSI SQL using MySQL. Now, these topics or this particular section is common in all the clusters, whether it is cluster 1, which is default, whether it is cluster 2 or cluster 3, which is additional. So the database part is common. The topics what they have given is like your transactional queries, then definition language queries, DML, DCL, constraints and their types, operators, functions. So in detail understanding and the fundamentals of SQL query language is expected here. And the questions will be like, they will be giving you a scenario, database tables and all, and they will be asking you to write down the query for the given problem statement. Again, here you can expect 2 to 3 query based questions. Okay. So joins is the important thing here, clauses, joins, and subqueries, where you will be getting checked or assessed based on how you are writing down the query for the given problem statement. But again, as I said, if you are thoroughly preparing all these topics, this is again going to help you in the interview part as well. This section will be common in the clusters, other clusters also. The topics will also remain same. And the third section in the default cluster is based on web user interface, where 3 technical parameters are being assessed, that is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, what type of questions they can ask here is like, It's not be the MCQ section here. It will be a coding section again, because it's coding web UI, but that coding is slightly different as compared to our programming language coding. So what kind of questions they are expecting here is like, they will be giving you the code and some of the statements from that code will be missing. It is kind of fill in the blanks kind of thing. So some of the statements will be missing and the desired output will be given to you. You have to make the modification in that code by filling those statements in an appropriate manner, such that if that code is executed, the designated output should occur. This kind of experience is there based on the section number 3, which is under cluster 1. And the technologies that you need to prepare is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. So these are the main 3 sections that comes under cluster 1, which is default cluster. So whether you are preparing for any of the role, it becomes mandatory for you to prepare for web UI option, prepare for database option, and prepare for Java programming language. Okay. Difficulty level of all 3 sections will be moderate. Now going to cluster 2, which is additional. It is like, if you select cluster number 2, then what will be there in that cluster, because it will be a separate assessment as you have selected for the second cluster. Here also the duration will remain same and the sections will also remain same, but there is one change. In cluster 2, you will be having coding section just like cluster 1, but here they have provided you the programming language option as Python. So here, if you are going for cluster 2, you have to deal with Python programming language. And the topics are data structure topics, functions Python, file handling, object-oriented programming, libraries and modules, because we all know Python has inbuilt libraries and all. So how you are using them, the understanding of those libraries, and exception handling. Same goes with preparation of interview as well, because if you have selected additional cluster, let's say for example, cluster 1 is by default, but if you have selected additional cluster, let's say 2, that is Python, so you will be getting a separate assessment for cluster 2, and that again will be considered in interview as well. So this is a very good chance to upgrade the profile. As I said earlier, that final assessment will be based on, final evaluation will be based on what type of assessment you have given. And they have already mentioned in their pre-placement talk also that if you have selected for Gen C Next or Gen C Pro based on your technical assessment or based on your aptitude assessment, during interview, if they identify that this profile is good but not suitable for that particular next role or pro role, they will be considering it for Gen C role, where the package is 4 LPA. But if you have multiple cluster selection in the technical assessment and you have done well, and even in the interview also your performance is good, it is very good opportunity that you will be cracking the higher roles. Okay. So go in that particular preparation strategy. So these are the topics that you need to consider for section 1 of coding that comes under cluster 2 Python. The second section of database, as I said, this will be common. This will be common in the second cluster also. So same topics under the SQL parameters, constraints, clauses, joins, everything will be same. Okay. But the third section in cluster 2 is modified. In the cluster 1, it was web UI. Here it is cloud fundamentals. And it is again clearly mentioned that this category, section 3, will be an MCQ category. Means it will be an multiple choice questions based on the concepts of cloud computing, cloud fundamentals. Altogether, if you prepare for these topics of introductory concepts of cloud computing, basic fundamental concepts like different types of clouds, their architecture working, advantages, disadvantages, different service models, deployment models, the service providers right now available in the market, what kind of architecture they are using, how actually it works, different types of services we have, infrastructure, platform, software. So all these are the fundamental things which comes under cloud computing. So you have to prepare well. Here in this section, your concept should be very clear, because for MCQ questions, if your concepts are clear, it will be very easy for you to crack this particular section. So this is the section 3rd under cluster 2, which is additional cluster of Python. Then the third cluster, which will be your additional cluster again, same duration, same number of sections, but the things will again get modified, because here the coding language is C sharp. The topics remain same, but you will be getting a chance of C sharp. So those students, sorry, those students who are working on C sharp programming language, they will be selecting this particular cluster. So one cluster which is default they have given for Java, second additional cluster they have given for Python, and third cluster they have given for C sharp. So the searching sorting algorithm topics, array collection, strings, problem solving, basic fundamentals, OOP, everything remains same under the topic section, but the programming language has changed. Second section of cluster 3 will again same, that is query database. So if you observe everywhere in all three clusters, the database query section is common. So 2 to 3 query questions you can expect under this particular section. And the third section here is again coding web UI, which is exactly matching with your skill cluster 1. Same topics, same category type of questions. The questions will be given to you, code will be there, some of the lines, some of the statements will be missing. You have to make sure that you fill those missing statements properly with the syntax of HTML, CSS, JavaScript as per the need of the problem statement, and the desired output should be there. Okay, so this is how you can have the idea about all the clusters. The default cluster, because in the previous pattern, the default cluster was not there. You have to select one cluster and according to that, the assessment gonna happen. But this time they have made first cluster as default one, that was Java cluster with 3 sections, that is programming coding, database, and web UI coding. In second cluster, they have given you Python programming, database remains common, and cloud computing MCQ. In the third cluster, they have given you C sharp coding, database remains common, and coding web UI remains common. So this is the idea about all the 3 clusters that we will be considering. Okay, now how to prepare for this? What should be your preparation strategy? As I can say, there are very less time, right? So in thorough, if you are going into the detailed preparation, it will be little difficult to complete all the things. If you are already doing it from last few months, then it will be a great advantage to you. But those who are right now starting their preparation for this particular on-campus drive, I will be guiding you on this particular 3 steps. Whatever the cluster you will be choosing, additional cluster I am saying, as well as the default one, the programming language you need to consider, because you have to write down the code in that particular programming language. So you have to focus on fundamentals. Each and every concept, whatever is mentioned in the list, as well as some additional preparation will be again beneficial. You should be very clear with that fundamentals, because as a freshers, when companies are assessing the candidates, not even in their technical rounds, but in the technical interview also, they are majorly concerned with the fundamental concepts. If you are clear with fundamentals, your chances of selection will be higher. Okay, then problem solving approach, because when you are learning the theoretical concepts of programming language, you are understanding the concepts. It's not only up to that point, you have to showcase the practical application of it by practicing coding statements. So fundamental coding statements, then you slowly increase the level of difficulty, then some other coding statements which are based on that topic. This is what we call problem solving. So whatever you learn, don't learn only from the theoretical perspective, go with the practical application of it and try to solve the coding statements, that too without any help. So logic building is something that you need to achieve here, because whatever the solution you will be submitting, there is a chance that based on your submitted solution, they can again tackle with that problem in interview. They can keep that solution in front of you and they can ask you, can you just explain the logic? What was your approach or what was your strategy to solve these type of questions? How you was thinking? No? So a lot of parameters are there. So assessing on the basis of these parameters will be there. And malpractices by default, it's not allowed. So don't think about that even, because they have a lot of options to identify that. So you develop the logic from your side and then try to implement it. And the rule that I am mentioning here, that is 334 rule, is again an important rule that you should adopt when you are doing practical application of the concepts. So what exactly this 334 rule is: whatever the topic you prepare, let's say for example you are preparing for strings or arrays, any particular topic, make sure that you are solving at least 10 coding questions based on that topic, and that 10 coding questions will be divided in a 334 rule category. First 3 questions you should solve with the simple level difficulty without taking any help, by developing the algorithmic steps, logic building, and by your own, you are writing down the code, you are solving that particular question. If you can do this, your confidence level will increase, and then jump to next three questions, which are moderate difficulty level questions. So once you complete this moderate level difficulty questions, then you will jump to the four next questions, which are complex level questions. So this strategy, not only for Cognizant, but for other drives also going to help you. But if you are not doing problem solving, if you are not solving the coding questions, then during exam you will definitely stuck. So analysis of that problem statement, whatever is given, and then try to develop the logic. There is no specific thing that limitation of logic development is there, but what is exactly expected that your logic should satisfy the provided test cases. All the test cases should get passed, because the assessment will be based on how many test cases you are solving. And apart from that, time and space complexity parameters are also important, because effective code, optimized code is something what companies are expecting. But this will not come only by solving one or two questions. You have to continuously indulge yourself in solving these particular parameters. So make sure that in any topic you are preparing, minimum 10 coding questions, I am saying, with this rule you should solve. So it will give you a complete preparation of that particular topic. And fundamentals are something which are very important for doing this. Okay, so this is the detailed information about all the clusters in technical assessment that you will be going through, and the preparation strategy that you should follow. Okay, now if you have any questions regarding the technical assessment parameter, let me know. Or during the chat, during the session, Ajinkya sir will be continuing now. So in comment box or in the chat box, you can drop your doubts. Okay, Ajinkya sir, handing over to you again.
Yes, sir. There are certain doubts asked by the students. Let
Yeah.
me check. Bhagyashree is asking, is it compulsory to do cluster one? The answer is yes.
Yes, it is default cluster.
Right. Gargi is asking, will we be able to see the output of web UI code that we write, like the changes which we will be
Yes,
making?
yes.
Mm.
It will be the structure kind output is given, and code will be given with some blank statements. You have to fill that.
Okay. Then uh, can Gargi is asking, can we change the cluster after the registration? Can we somehow update it? Gargi, not sure about it. You need to check with your training and placement department once about it. Okay. Okay, just let me check other questions. One more question is, if we select cluster 2, can the questions also based on cluster 2, or is it just based on their decision, like we have to solve coding only in Java?
No, by default cluster is Java.
Hmm.
So only the option of Java will be there. If you select cluster 2, additional cluster, the default cluster by default you have to give, plus separate assessment for additional cluster where Python will be there in second cluster.
Okay.
If you select third one, it will be C sharp.
Okay. What will be the level of coding problem? Siddhant is asking.
Moderate, moderate.
Okay.
Expected to be moderate, because whatever the feedback we have received from our students, the questions were most majorly based on arrays and strings,
Mhm.
basic data structures and all. So moderate level difficulty, not that much difficult or complex.
Okay. Do we need to write the code from scratch in the editor for coding section? Is there any?
Basic structure, I think basic structure was provided,
Mhm.
but if you prepare from scratch, that will be good.
Okay.
There will be a special platform METTL. Through that secure browser only you have to go with the test.
Okay. Vivek is asking when they send mails regarding communication assessment. Vivek, you will get notified soon. If you clear the screening round, you will get information in next 3 to 4 days. Because anyhow, they have given the date for communication assessment from 5th February, right? So one more thing I would like to show you guys. I was mentioning about the game-based aptitude. So I have added the link of this particular video in our YouTube description as well. Okay. So later on you can go through this particular video, how to solve game-based aptitude challenge. It will help you to. It was we created that for Capgemini, but as I mentioned, it is going to be almost same for the Cognizant part. Okay. One more important information I would like to share that we have planned one Cognizant free mock test series for the 2025 batch students. It is not a paid, it is free. So basically, we are going to conduct the test based on aptitude part, quantitative aptitude part as only, because communication assessment and game-based assessment is not possible right now. But those students who are interested to try out the previous year quantitative aptitude questions, you can go for this particular test. I have added the link into the description box of the YouTube video. You can register for it. Also, make sure you subscribe to our channel, because what I'm going to do, like 3 to 4 months before, one of our student got placed like in a Cognizant, okay, for Gen Z. So in some time, I'm going to upload his experience video as well. There can be some minor changes which you may face in this particular exam, but the student is from 2025 batch itself, so you will have idea like what exactly he faced, how was the experience. So I'm going to upload that video in next 2 to 3 hours. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get all the updates. Okay. Any other query? Let me just check. Is there any scope to prefer candidate who chooses additional cluster than only default cluster? Tejasri, to be honest, we don't have exact information about it. Okay. Bhargava is saying, I will select not applicable option in cluster. What cluster will I write in technical assessment? By default, cluster one is mandatory. You need to attempt it. Okay. If we select the cluster two, do we have to solve the database question again, or it will be same question from cluster one? One we need to check. Not sure about it. Okay. Ria is asking, can you tell us about the time management in communication assessment and aptitude assessment? For aptitude assessment, definitely, like what will happen since you're having around 8 to 10 days for the aptitude assessment. I have given you some idea about the important topics. For the next 3 to 4 days, focus more on learning those topics and solving practice question. And for last 3 to 4 days, at least make sure you are attempting the mock test, whether it is cognizant specific mock test or topic wise mock test, which I have already mentioned. Okay, at least 4 to 5 mock tests. Okay, because mock tests are only way to improve your time management during actual exam. Suppose if I provide you 5 to 10 minutes to solve a single question, many of you will be able to do it if you study that topic. But the major challenge will be to solve it around 60 or 90 seconds, and the mock test can only help you to work on the time management. For communication assessment, anyhow, for the first reading and listening part, they have given you the fixed deadline, okay, to speak on that topic. Same with the speaking, you are supposed to speak for 60 seconds. For grammar, like around 20 minutes or 15 to 20 minutes have been given for 34 questions, so approximately you can consider 20 to 30 seconds. But those questions are going to be very short questions. You need to quickly read the question and put it into fill in blank, like put that particular fill in the blank option. Okay, so you need to, like, again, if you have option like to go for the mock test based on the article, preposition or grammar related questions, I would recommend you to at least give 5 to 10 mock tests, maybe 10 questions, 15 question kind of thing. It will help you. Those students who belong to the complete masterclass, we already have topic wise aptitude mock test, we have the verbal ability mock test as well. It will be sufficient for you to work on the time management part. Okay. Can we give the exam on the Mac? Does the Mac fulfill the system requirement? Gargi, I'm not sure about it right now. You need to go through the requirement which your college TPO has shared with you. Okay. Yes, your college training and placement department will definitely share all the instructions before the actual exam. Yes. Bhagyashree, we need to wait how they are going to conduct the multiple clusters. Okay, because last time, like students were supposed to select only one cluster, but this time they have given option to select multiple cluster. Okay. Yes. So this free mock test series I have already added into the description. So whenever you subscribe to the channel, in the description box as well, you will get it. Okay. So overall, there are, like, for the communication assessment, you have around 4 to 5 days, and for the actual aptitude and technical assessment, you have around 10 to 12 days. Make sure you work really hard. This is very important opportunity. Like, from our entire talent battle team, we would like to wish you the best. Okay, make sure you give like 100% efforts and crack this opportunity. And whenever you get the selection mail, make sure you connect with us. Okay, that regarding this particular news. Okay. One student is asking, you will be also conducting this meeting for 2026 batch. Charuta, this particular opportunity is only for 2025 batch. So whenever you will enter into 2026, whenever your like final year will start, at that time you will have such meetings. Okay. So Charuta is basically from Masterclass. So right now this meeting is only for 2025 batch students, as they are having the drive next week. Your such meetings will start once you like enter into your final year. Yeah. Okay. So I hope everything, like we have tried our level best to clear the information. Okay, so all the best everyone. In case of any query, you can connect with us on our Instagram channel as well. I will add the link of Instagram, or directly you can search TalentBattle.in on our Instagram and you can message us over there. Okay. If I get any further information about communication assessment, or maybe even the aptitude and technical assessment, or even the experiences of different students, we will keep uploading it on our Instagram channel. So make sure you follow us over there as well. Okay. So thank you, Rohit sir, for all the inputs. I hope definitely students have got really important information about it. Okay. So with this, I will end the session, guys. Thank you for attending this particular session. In case of any query, you can comment on the YouTube video, or you can connect with us on our Instagram channel as well. And as I mentioned earlier, we are going to upload the student's video who has got placement into Gen C, okay, 3 to 4 months back. So you can go through that video as well. It will also help you to get more insights about the Cognizant preparation. I will upload that video in 1 or 2 hours on YouTube channel. Yes. Thank you, everyone. I will end this video. All the best. In case of any query, connect with us on our Instagram channel. Thank you.